What if the moon never actually hit Earth, but still destroyed it? Right now, the moon looks calm, silent, harmless, hanging in the sky like it always has. But hidden inside that peaceful glow is a terrifying truth. If the moon moved just a little closer, everything on Earth would begin to fall apart. Not in millions of years. Almost instantly. The moon controls more than our tides. It stabilizes Earth's rotation. It influences our climate. Some scientists even believe life itself may have evolved because of the moon's pull on ancient oceans. In a way, the moon isn't just orbiting Earth. It's holding our world together. But here's the strange part. If the moon suddenly accelerated toward Earth, the real danger wouldn't be the impact. It would be what happens before the impact. At first, nobody would notice. The moon would seem slightly bigger each night. Brighter too. Social media would explode with theories. Scientists would panic in silence. Then the oceans would begin acting wrong. Tides would rise higher than skyscrapers. Entire coastlines would vanish beneath walls of water. Cities would flood every few hours. And because the moon's gravity would be pulling harder and harder, these mega-tsunamis wouldn't stop. They'd hit over and over again, 10 times a day. But that's not even the craziest part. As the moon moved closer, Earth itself would begin spinning faster. Days would shrink. 24 hours would become 20, then 16. Temperatures would drop. Weather systems would spiral into chaos. Hurricanes would merge into continent-sized storms. And this is where it gets weird. The moon still wouldn't hit us. Because long before impact, it would cross something called the Roche limit. An invisible line in space where Earth's gravity becomes stronger than the moon's own gravity. The moment that happens, the moon dies. Not with an explosion, with disintegration. The entire lunar surface would crack apart in silence. Every crater, every mountain, every footprint left by astronauts, torn into billions of fragments. And then Earth would look up and see rings. Massive, glowing rings stretching across the sky like Saturn. Beautiful, impossible, terrifying. For one brief moment, Earth would become the most breathtaking planet in the solar system. And then the rocks would start falling. At first, the debris would look harmless. Tiny streaks of light burning across the atmosphere. Like shooting stars. People would film them, celebrate them. Some would even think it was beautiful. Then entire cities would disappear. Because these weren't meteors. They were pieces of the moon. Mountain-sized chunks would slam into Earth with enough force to erase countries. Oceans would boil. Forests would ignite. Shockwaves would circle the planet again and again. But here's the terrifying part. The destruction wouldn't happen all at once. It would last for years. Earth would be trapped inside a deadly storm of lunar debris. Every day, more fragments would rain down from above. Civilization wouldn't collapse overnight. It would slowly bleed out. And that's when things changed. Scientists once believed the moon crashing into Earth would be a simple collision. One giant impact. Instant destruction. But newer calculations reveal something far stranger. Earth might never actually be hit by the moon itself. Instead, the moon would become a giant ring system first. A shattered halo wrapping around the planet. And those rings would slowly grind themselves into extinction by falling onto us piece by piece. Imagine looking into the night sky and seeing the remains of the moon stretched across the heavens. The same moon humans walked on. The same moon that guided oceans, calendars, myths, and civilizations for thousands of years. Gone. Replaced by a glowing scar around Earth. But that's not even the darkest part. Without the moon stabilizing Earth's axis, the planet would begin to wobble unpredictably. Seasons would become violent. Entire regions could freeze while others burned. Weather patterns would mutate into something unrecognizable. And while humanity fought to survive collapsing ecosystems, endless tsunamis, and firestorms from space, the sky itself would become a constant reminder that this nightmare was only getting worse. Because every glowing fragment overhead was another future impact waiting to happen. And no one would know where the next one would land. Then comes the final twist. This nightmare scenario feels impossible. Like pure science fiction. But the moon is already moving, just not toward us. Right now, at this exact second, the moon is drifting away from Earth by about 4 centimeters every year, slowly escaping our planet's grip. Which means the apocalypse you just imagined probably won't happen naturally. Probably. But here's the unsettling part. The moon doesn't need to collide with Earth to change our future forever. Scientists already know the moon controls Earth far more than most people realize. Tiny changes in its orbit can affect tides, climate stability, and even the length of our days. The relationship between Earth and the moon is so precise that if it were significantly altered, civilization itself could become impossible. And this is where it gets truly disturbing. The moon may actually be the reason intelligent life survived long enough to exist at all. Without it, Earth could have become a chaotic planet of violent climate swings and unstable seasons billions of years ago. In other words, the moon might not just be our satellite. It might be our shield, which suddenly makes one question feel a lot more terrifying. What happens to Earth if that shield disappears? Because one day, billions of years from now, the moon will drift so far away that total solar eclipses will stop forever. The skies humans have always known will change. The balance between Earth and the moon will weaken. And maybe that's the creepiest part of all. For our entire existence, humanity has looked up at the moon and assumed it would always be there. But space doesn't promise permanence. Not for planets, not for stars, and definitely not for moons. So the next time you see the moon hanging quietly above Earth, remember something. That glowing object isn't just lighting up the night sky. It's holding our world together. And if that relationship ever changed, everything changes with it.